The Iranians are saying that this drone violated Iranian airspace early this morning and was then shot down somewhere south of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the U.S. has a very different take on what happened. As you mentioned, the U.S. says that the drone was shot down over international airspace in the Strait of Hormuz. And the U.S. just coming out also a couple of minutes ago with a short statement saying that the U.S. did not fly any aircraft over Iranian airspace.
There's nothing more American than shooting down a drone that's hovering over your property. So I'm 100% with Iran on this one, okay? But all jokes aside, I'm terrified that the saber rattling with Iran is reaching the next stage, and this is exactly what the U.S. wants. A lot of the bloodthirsty villains in our government have been aching for a war against Iran for some time now.
The behavior and the objectives of the regime are not going to change, and therefore the only solution is to change the regime itself.
This situation is not only identical to the illegal war in Iraq, but even the actors are the same. But what do you expect when Trump's militant attitude towards the nation has been a rallying cry for some time now?
The Iranian dictatorship's aggression continues to this day.
Except this hostility has now reached a boiling point. As I'm sure you remember, Obama negotiated a denuclearization deal with Iran that was also agreed to by other European states and even Russia and China. And according to the UN watchdogs and other third-party investigators, Iran has been complying with the terms of the deal. But then Trump came out of nowhere and ripped the deal apart and then expected Iran to continue to comply.
The United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
And guess what? Iran did keep complying to the deal, but that wasn't enough for Trump either. So his administration imposed additional sanctions on Iran despite their compliance, and meanwhile, European nations in fear of the US could not offer anything but lip service to the state. Seems like the US is doing everything it can to go to war with Iran, and well, here we are.
We are following a major developing story out of Iran. That nation says it will stop complying with parts of the Iran nuclear deal and begin building stockpiles of enriched uranium and heavy water, both used, of course, in nuclear reactors. This comes exactly 1 year after the U.S. pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal.
So you tell me whose fault this is thus far. Tensions have increased these past couple of weeks as the U.S. keeps blaming Iran for attacking tankers without credible evidence, contrary to the intelligence from other nations involved in the matter, and now Iran has shot down a drone flying over its airspace. And these methods are not new. They are very similar to how the U.S. got into the awful genocidal war in Vietnam, for example.
2 U.S. destroyers, the Maddox and the Turner Joy, while on patrol in the Gulf of Tonkin, had been attacked by North Vietnamese PT boats. He said neither ship had suffered any damage or any casualties. The incident, however, gave President Johnson enough cause to immediately order limited airstrikes against North Vietnam and thus escalate the war.
This was the incident that the United States used to dramatically escalate the war in Vietnam. Before this, there were U.S. military specialists on the ground helping spread freedom and offering material support, but the so-called Gulf of Tonkin incident was when the war truly started, all over a carrier that sustained almost no damage and released a barrage of missiles in return. And we still don't know to this day if the carriers were attacked by the North Vietnamese. And I'm worried that this is exactly what's happening with Iran at the moment. Those who do not learn from the mistakes of history are doomed to repeat them. And one lesson history unquestionably tells us is that governments lie, particularly when they want to go to war. And no one wants to go to war more than John Bolton, and no one is a bigger liar than Donald Trump. And they're going to do everything in their power to get the war with Iran they want. The only question is whether we, the American people, have learned the lessons of history well enough to stop them. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't learn history at all. I'm Hasan Piker. Please share this video with your friends and spread the message. And this has been The Breakdown. You like this video? Great. Never miss another breakdown video by hitting the subscribe button below, and also ring the bell to get notified whenever we publish a new one.